Welcome, everyone, to Thursday Night Lights. Tonight, we're going to talk about how you can manifest in just 4 simple steps. And if you are, well, I don't know how simple they are. Well, I'll let you be the judge of that. And if you're catching this live, well, happy new moon in Gemini. So this is a great time to talk about manifesting because the new moon is a time of setting intentions. So welcome, and I hope you enjoy this presentation. For those of you who do not know me, I am Joshua the Psychic. I do psychic astrology readings, life coaching, parties, and you can find all information about my work and my services on my website, psychicsun.com. And there you can also find your horoscopes for the latest lunation. Whenever you might be seeing this, this video is evergreen. Granted, we are doing it on the new moon in Gemini. However, you can utilize this video whenever you wish. So tonight, what we're going to do is talk about a 4-step process to help you manifest in your life whatever you want. But a spoiler alert, it's your beliefs and your sense of deservability that determine what you manifest. And we're manifesting really all the time. So everything that you have in your life, it's a result of you having manifested it. And we manifest things through our thoughts, emotions, and actions, of course, right? So it's your perspective, right, that determines your thoughts, essentially, and then it determines your actions, because your thoughts also affect your feelings. But you could look at it as how you see things determines how you think, and that determines what you do. So we're manifesting all the time, but what you want to do is manifest intentionally. You want to manifest consciously and say, okay, I want this, therefore I'm going to do this. So step 1 for manifesting whatever it is that you want is clarity. The first step to getting what you want is knowing what you want. And that might sound obvious, but it's sometimes tricky. Sometimes you're not completely clear on exactly what it is that you want. So it might help for you to do a little bit of soul searching, have a series of conversations with yourself, and determine, what it is that you'd like to manifest. What does your end goal look like? What's the best case scenario for what it is that you want to achieve? What's the best thing that could happen? Now, it gets a little tricky because some goals come from an ego place and other goals come from a true purpose place. An ego place might be, I want to be president of this foundation. Okay, well, why? Because it's going to make you look good. It's going to raise your status. It's going to make you feel powerful and better than other people. Like, that's an ego space. If you want to be president of the foundation because you want to serve, you want to help people, you have a really great vision, that's probably your true purpose. So ego-driven goals aim to prove something or to fill a void. And if you are going after these ego-driven goals, they're never going to really make you happy because it's a sense of it's false, right? It's not your true nature. You want to find your true north, what really makes you joyful and what is natural for you and what really gets you excited on a very deep level. And your true purpose goals align with what truly matters to you. So get clear on what you want and ask yourself, is your goal coming from a place of ego or is it your soul's purpose? Hello, Casmar. Nice to see you. Happy new moon in Gemini. I hope you're doing well. So ask yourself, is your goal coming from a place of ego or your soul's purpose? You're going to save yourself a lot of time because even if you achieve your ego goal, it's not going to make you happy. At the end of the day, even if you're shallow, you're actually at the end of the day really, really deep in the sense that you need that level of deep fulfillment. And if it's not your soul's purpose, It's probably not right for you. It's just not going to fulfill you. So step 2 in manifesting whatever it is that you want is you got to identify your blocks. If something's not manifesting in your life, something inside of you is not aligned. So it's all an inside job, right? So it's a matter of whatever is going on inside of us is superimposed or reflected back to us by the universe. So everything within you has to be a match to whatever it is that you want if you want to create it, right? So if something's not manifesting in your life, something internally is off. And this is where you get to be a bit of a detective and find out what's going on. Why am I not aligned with this desire, even though I have it? And there are a lot of reasons for that we'll discuss. But everything in your reality helps you get back into alignment. So everything is a constant feedback loop. If you find yourself, for instance, stubbing your toe or getting a flat tire or leaving the refrigerator door open and then your milk goes bad, like that's all feedback. And granted, it might not be the most positive scenarios that take place, but they're there to tell you what's going on. It's like pain in the body. Pain in the body is actually super helpful. It says, hey, something's amiss here. You need to fix it. So when you're not manifesting or you're having trouble manifesting, it's a sign that you need to do some tweaking. And when it comes to manifesting, you got to determine what your subconscious blocks are. And these can be numerous. Number one, it's a matter of we're all born into a particular context in which there are rules that are in place for this context. I get in trouble if I am joyful, or if I'm happy, I tend to get in trouble. Is a very, very common context a lot of people are born into. Or it might be a matter of the context is everybody's needs are more important than mine. You might see this when there's a bit of an age gap between the oldest child and the younger siblings in a family. So it's very much most likely having to do first and foremost with your context. What was the story you were born into? Because even before you were born into a story, when you're in your mother's belly, you're getting her beliefs, which can be terrifying, right? So essentially, if a mother is pregnant with a child and she smokes a cigarette, she shares that cigarette with the child. But similarly, if a mother is going through trauma or she's angry or she's stressed or she doesn't see a light at the end of the tunnel, etc., you're going to adopt those beliefs because you're sharing her vibration, you're sharing her energy, you're dependent on her. Everything you're getting, all your nutrients, all your nutrition is from her. And then you're born, and then that's further that's further inculcated, her beliefs or your father's beliefs or your family's beliefs and whatnot. So the first thing that you might want to do to heal your subconscious beliefs is look at the context. From an objective standpoint, what were you born into? How does your mother see the world? How did your father see the world? If you were adopted, for instance, that could be very, very traumatizing, right? Because you're taken away from your mother. Or if you were preemie, right? Premature children. Well, oftentimes what happens is when you're a premature baby, you're taken from the mother and put in an incubator when you don't have any human contact whatsoever. So what does that do? That might create a belief system that says nobody wants me, I'm supposed to be alone, right? Where's my mother? So you want to think about your context. What was the scenario in which you were brought into? Other stuff that might be a subconscious belief really comes down to your deservability, your sense of worthiness. Like if you don't feel like you're worthy of something, you're not going to get it. So what I would suggest for you to do, especially under a new moon cycle, if you're catching this live, we're under one now, write down what you want in the different areas of your life, and then write down 5 reasons why you deserve it. So, okay, I want a job that I love that pays me well. Well, I deserve to be happy is a reason. I'm very smart is another reason. I'm a hard worker. That's another reason. I deserve it because I trained very, very diligently in the past. And number 5 would be maybe I've worked hard my whole life and I need to get comped for new gifts, or I deserve to express myself, or I deserve to make a lot of money, whatever. Just come up with 5 reasons why you deserve whatever it is that you want. Hey, Sonia, nice to see you. Oh, I'm glad you like that idea. Yeah, that'll really help you, because if you can believe that you deserve it, you're going to get it. That's why, in a lot of respects, in law of attraction, you'll hear a lot of people say, like Abraham Hicks, for instance, or Esther Hicks. She's like, you don't have to work hard for the money. Well, if you believe that you have to work hard for the money, then you're going to have to work hard for the money. But also, it's highly ironic that Esther Hicks would say this when she works like a dog. When you go on the internet, you can imagine how many clips there are of her talking. That is work. She works like a dog. So, for her to say that you don't have to work in order to achieve wealth is bullshit, right? So the thing is that it's all about your beliefs. A lot of times what winds up happening is if I work like a crazy person, I say, okay, well, now I deserve it because I killed myself. I definitely deserve now to get whatever it is that I want, the money, etc. But that level of deservability can come about in different ways. So your deservability, your sense of worthiness, you might have to improve that, right? Additionally, it could also be limiting beliefs. Like if you see this with like people who are really, really, really successful. What is her name? I forget her name. Rosamund Pike. So she's an actress and she is super successful. She's done so many great things. But if you think about it, she was born into a context in which I think her mother was an opera singer. Her father was also in the arts. So she's born into this context in which her parents are making plenty of money and being wildly successful in an artistic field. That's her context. So of course it's going to be easier for her to create a career that is very, very successful in the arts because that is normal. If you were born into a family in which nobody was an artist, or they didn't succeed as an artist, and they were in, say, blue-collar jobs or jobs that were more corporate, etc., it's going to be very difficult for you to actually think that that is possible, right? So the influences that we have around us growing up really tell us this is what life is like. This is plausible. This is likely to happen. This is what life is about. So if you're wanting something that your parents never had, or something that's never been exemplified for you, you got to work extra hard in order to change your beliefs. Your beliefs that you can't do that. That's for other people. Stuff like that. Another reason why there might be a subconscious block is because even though you want something that you might not feel comfortable with, and that really is what manifestation is about. It's about comfort with whatever it is that you want. You're still love yourself. You still love your old self construct. So if I have beliefs about myself in that I'm never going to make it as this or that, any kind of like occupation that I want to be in, even though I know I need to change that, I've fallen in love, or I love the part of myself that is also limited, right? Like I love the part of myself that never gets the job. I love the part of myself that always is disenfranchised, etc. So part of the trick is not just changing your self-construct, but realizing that in doing so, you're having to almost detach from the you that you love, that you've grown accustomed to. So part of manifestation is creating a new self-construct, a new self-image, but also falling in love or loving that new person. And in a way, it might be about mourning or letting go of the old identity that could not get what it is that you want, because you do love yourself. So you also love the part of you that never gets the relationship, never gets the job, never gets the money, etc. Or the part of you that is sick all the time. So you gotta remember that manifestation is really about transition, and some might say it's transitioning to another timeline, but still you're having to fall in love and get to know and cultivate a new relationship with the new you that would have what it is that you want, because you may be very much used to, and you very much might love, of course you love yourself, the you that did not have what it is that you want, if that makes sense. Oh yeah, I think it would definitely counter imposter syndrome. Yeah, for sure. Also, the other thing that's really interesting is I think a lot of people have fear of getting what they want. If people were in situations that were highly traumatizing or abusive, it may have been a matter of there was joy, and then that joy was like ripped away from them, like the pacifier being ripped out of their mouth, right? Because if parents, a lot of parents, if they didn't get certain things in their lives, they're not going to be keen on their kids getting those things in their lives. Even though parents are supposed to want more for their children, parents are still human. So if, for instance, like you see this with crying, like some parents are very, very adamant, do not cry. Why? Well, the mentality is, I wasn't allowed to cry. Why should you get to cry? I wasn't allowed to experience my emotions. Why should you get to? Right? I never got to be joyful. You shouldn't get to be joyful either. You're having too much fun. I never got to have that much fun. You can't either. So because of that, there may be a subconscious fear that you have of being truly joyful. Either you feel like you're going to get your love taken away because your parents are going to be jealous of you, right? Or you're going to feel as if that joy is going to be ripped from you, that it's going to be taken away. Or it could be a matter of you feel guilty. You feel guilty for having joy, right? So you got to really ask yourself, what is your relationship to joy? Are you okay being joyful? Does it feel okay for you? Do you feel like there might be some subconscious sense of repercussions for the joy that you're experiencing? Because anything that you want is because you're expecting it to make you more happy. But if you have a fear of happiness, either because you feel guilty for being happy because other people aren't around you that aren't happy, or you think if you're happy, you're going to get in trouble, you got to work on that. So you want to work on your subconscious blocks, however they might show up. A main thing with manifestation, if you cannot see it and you cannot feel it, you're not going to do it. There are exceptions to the rules. I have seen it happen that somebody did not think that it was possible, and lo and behold, they were able to create it. But usually, you got to see it, you got to feel it, and you got to expect it. It's the expectation that yields the results. So that's why visualizing what it is that you want is super important. That's why focusing on what you want, not what you don't want, is really important, because you got to see it and feel it in order for it to take place on in the material realm. So they also say that anything that winds up happening before it happens outside of you in the real world universe, it happens first in the psyche. So for those people who, oh, I didn't see it coming, there's an argument that could be made, well, they did, but it was on a subconscious level, right? So you want to make sure that whatever it is that you want, it has to be very natural. It has to be very, very real. Like, of course I'm going to get the job. Of course I'm going to be rich. Of course I'm going to get exactly the person I'm romantically interested in, right? You want to create an identity that is used to getting what it is that you want. Like, of course, I want it and I get it. I get what I want, right? If you can create the mentality that you get what it is that you want, all of your manifestations are going to be super easy. But again, we might be attached to a self-construct. I never get this. This happens all the time. I always get the shitty end of the stick, blah, blah, blah. If we're telling that story, it is going to perpetuate. So you're going to tell a new story. I get whatever it is that I want. I'm a child of the universe. God loves me. Of course, he wants me to be happy, etc., etc., etc. So you want to make sure that you're seeing what it is that you want and you're feeling it. Step 3, healing. So again, you're going to have some subconscious blocks. There might be deservability issues. You may have been born into a context in which everybody suffers and struggles, that you have to struggle. I see this a lot. Some people believe that they have to struggle in order to flourish financially. And again, that becomes an apparency because, well, then they struggle and then they allow the prosperity or the flourishing to come in. But again, there are some other people who think that they don't have to struggle or think that success is all about ease, and they're able to manifest it because of their beliefs. So it's really your beliefs. Even when you die, they say that it's what you believe that you're going to experience. I.e., if I believe that when I die, I'm going to meet St. Peter at the pearly gates of heaven, well, I'm going to get that I'm going to manifest that when I die. If I believe that, there's hell, I might experience something like hell, etc. So your beliefs really dictate what you wind up manifesting. But you can change your beliefs. There's many different ways to do that, of course. You can go to therapy. You can meditate. Meditation is really something that I know a lot of people have resistances to it, but it creates new neural pathways in your brain. And neurons that fire together wire together, they say. So the issue with that is that as soon as you have a thought, it creates a series of other thoughts. It's like this law of attraction in the brain. So that's why like thoughts create other like thoughts. That's why I always say, don't give yourself the luxury of a negative thought because they're going to increase. But you want to create new neural pathways in your brain, because the thing is that there's parts of your brain that have not yet fired off. There's like neurons in your brain that have not been activated yet. And in order to create something that you've never had before, you have to be something that you've never been before, i.e., your brain chemistry has to change. And meditation is the easiest thing to make that happen. Because what meditation does is it creates a little bit of a space between the stimuli and the response. So, for instance, if I'm meditating, and then I hear a noise. I have to ignore the noise and get back to my meditating. But there's that pause there before me reacting to the noise and me getting back to my meditation. And that pause there is very, very significant. It allows me to redirect my focus mentally. So when you're meditating, when you're visualizing, you're allowing your neural pathways to operate in a very different way. And that's very important because in order for you to create anything new in your life, you have to think differently. Your brain has to do different things, right? And meditation can really help you with that. Because think of it in terms of your pathways. Say everything has been programmed within you to say life is difficult. So all your brain is like, whatever I do, it's a pain in the ass and it's very difficult. That is what your brain is constantly saying. So you need to absolutely take control of the situation and say, no, everything that I do is working for my highest good and everything works out well for me. You got to think in a different way, and that's going to change what's going on in your brain. That's going to then change your body, and that's going to change your emotions, and that's going to change what you're broadcasting out into the universe. So I can't say enough about meditation. I feel like, it's one of those things that you should really be disciplined and investigate, even if it's for 5 minutes at first. A little is better than nothing. A little is better than nothing. There's journaling. That's nice. You can, it's nice for you to get like just do a brain dump. Especially, I think, with all these energies in Gemini, Jupiter's in Gemini, and it will be until 2015 June. Journaling is good because it helps you to just release all of the noise that's going on in your brain. You could also do something called scripting, in which you write out exactly what it is that you want. I got this great new job and I'm making X amount of dollars and I met the person of my dreams and I'm so happy. I know somebody, very advanced person with law of attraction. She has this really, really special, gorgeous book. And it's like this book, it's like a magic book. And whatever she puts in it, it's true. I make millions of dollars every single month, she might put in this, right? That's an advanced technique because, again, vibrationally, you got to be ready for it. Even to write something like that in a book, you got to be ready for it. Otherwise, it might feel very, very uncomfortable, right? Think of, like, for instance, those people who win the lottery or the Powerball. I mean, a lot of them, they sabotage themselves and they lose all their money because, well, they're not used to being that type of person, and that has that kind of money, and they sabotage it because they haven't retrained their brain to adapt to the rich person. Like, in their brain, even though they have all this money, they're still the poor person in their brain. So they sabotage themselves, make stupid decisions, waste their money, overspend, believe it or not, all really to bring them back to their homeostasis, their degree of normalcy, which is not being a billionaire, which is ridiculous, right? If you hit the Powerball, I mean, you want to enjoy that. You've gotten a great, awesome break. So if you do win that, you've got to make sure that you're identifying with the person that is now a billionaire. You have to. Otherwise, you might lose your fortune, right? So, and you see this a lot. You see a lot of people self-sabotaging. Person finds like the perfect mate, and then they cheat. Or they're looking for things that are problematic. Why? Because their brain is saying, I do not get to be in love. I don't get to be happy in a relationship. And again, think of your context. If you're born into a situation in which your parents were miserable or didn't love each other, or certainly didn't exhibit as much love for each other as they should have, let's say, your mentality is, this is what a relationship is. That's what a relationship is. So you got to really analyze your role models. What behavior has been modeled for you? Because if it hadn't been positive, you got to create new models. You got to either search for them in real life, or you got to visualize them. Otherwise, you might be regressing back to an old state that is not ideal and that is not comparable with the great things that you're manifesting. So it's a process. Breathing exercises are good. When you breathe differently, you change your brain. And that's really key. That's helpful with meditation. You might want to send love to yourself in the past. So say you went through a really difficult situation in which you were betrayed, and that was very traumatizing for you. And you haven't processed that. So Jung would say we always return to the scene of the crime because we want to process it. So if that's the case, if you went through some situation that was really traumatizing, you could visualize yourself sending love to you back in that time, because all time is happening simultaneously. If you send love to yourself in the past, you're going to heal your energetic body even then. And it is like switching a timeline, meaning I'm not suggesting that, the trauma will be gone, but it will be ameliorated. It will be improved. It will be healed. So keep that in mind. You can always just send love, like visualizing love to your, even if you don't know what beliefs you have, it's a good idea. Like visualize your mother pregnant with you and sending love to her, and sending love to her belly, and sending love to you. When you were a baby, sending love to yourself in that crib, or throughout your whole childhood, most important, I think, those developmental years. Like they say, our personality gets developed before we're 7, which is crazy, right? We really have to, if we're going to get out of these old contexts, we have to absolutely do so with intentionality, because otherwise we are we're conditioned and we're beholden to our past unless we actively make sure that we are creating a new reality. Additionally, there's the ongoing reparenting process. Belly breathing is great, especially if hi, Danny, nice to see you. I'm really glad to hear that. Yeah, that's a great thing to do, belly breathing. So there's the reparenting process. So even if your parents were amazing, the process of individuation requires you to learn how you need to be parented. What do you need? And you got to think of the Divine Mother and the Divine Father. How do you need to be nurtured by the Divine Mother? What do you need to be cared for? How do you need to be disciplined? How do you need the Divine Father to show up for you? And then you have to play both roles. But what's tricky is that you're going to have to reparent yourself all the time. And we all are, right? We're all always parenting ourselves in some way or another. Whether it's making sure we're getting up in time for work, we're tapping into the Divine Father, or we're making ourselves dinner, that's tapping into the Divine Mother. But the thing is that's tricky is that if you are changing and your goals are evolving, you're going to have to parent yourself in a different way. I.e., say you are a kid and you wind up getting captain of the hockey team. A good parent is going to say, well, congratulations, good job, you're now captain. But what are you going to do differently so you can succeed in this role? You can't do everything that you were doing before when you were junior varsity, right? You just can't. You got to step it up. If you're in this new role as captain, or if you're in this new role in a company, or if you're in this new role as a leader or in a relationship, etc., you got to learn how to parent yourself in a different way, because it's not going to work. What you did when you were in a lower role is not going to suffice for what you're going to need in a higher role, right? So you got to evolve. So if you want new things, you got to balance it. What are you doing to nurture yourself, to guide yourself on track, Divine Father, but also nurture yourself along the way, Divine Mother? Because if you have new goals, they're going to require new forms of self-parenting. So definitely keep that in mind. How do you need to love yourself? How do you need to discipline yourself with the Divine Father? And how do you need to nurture yourself with the Divine Mother? So we have to not only reparent ourselves regularly, but by new means, new ways of nurturing and disciplining ourselves that align with our evolving goals. Step 4, and this is really everything. It's all your self-concept or your self-construct. So you got to maintain the new self-construct. So we spoke about this before. We're doing this all the time. You decide who you are, you trust the decision, and then you act like you trust the decision. So say you want something, you might say, okay, well, I want to get married and I want to have several children and I want a white picket fence or whatever, right? So you decide, you say, okay, well, I am the type of person that is going to get married, that is going to have my several children, my white picket fence, then I'm going to trust it. Does it resonate for me? Does it feel true for me? If it does, I'm going to trust it. And then you need to maintain that trust. You're going to maintain that decision. So when you're going on a date and you feel like, oh, geez, this is probably going to not work out, you got to change yourself and say, no, I've decided that I'm this person that does that. So you're constantly making decisions about who you are, but you have to trust the new decision of who you are, and you got to maintain that trust. So it's not just about creating a new self-construct, or self-concept, you've got to maintain it. And that takes a lot of redirection, right? It takes a lot of definitely divine father energy. So self-sabotage can occur when we're insecure about certain aspects of ourselves. So this is where the imposter syndrome comes in, and we revert back to the old identity. For instance, you see this actually with a lot of celebrities. Okay, like for instance, Matthew Perry or even Ben Affleck. Infuriating to me. Like Ben Affleck, for instance, he literally had it all. Millions of dollars, great fame. He was married to Jennifer effing Gardner. Like, and you're doing drugs and ruining your life? Like, infuriating to me. But why? And same thing with Matthew Perry. Matthew Perry gets this opportunity of a lifetime to be one of, I think it's 5 friends on that show, millions upon millions of dollars in opportunity that only people could dream of. And you're pissing your life away? Well, why? Why? Because they obviously don't feel that they deserve it. So what do? They make themselves into the losers that they actually believe that they are. What else would make sense, right? So you're getting all of this fame and this fortune, but your self-construct or your subconscious belief about yourself is, I don't deserve this. I'm an idiot. I'm a loser. I don't deserve it. I'm not worthy of it. Okay. Well, then you're going to put yourself in a very disadvantageous position. Drugs, alcohol, etc., etc., etc. You're going to sabotage. So you got to really think about, if you do create what it is that you want, you got to be vigilant and make sure that you're feeling as if you're deserving of it, or else it will be taken away, right, by yourself. So you want to make sure that even when you manifest, you're not done, because you got to maintain that self-construct that is going to sustain your manifestations. Because naturally, what's going to happen is we might have a tendency to revert. Just like those people who win the lottery and that wind up going bankrupt, or the Matthew Perrys and the Ben Afflecks of the world that wind up screwing up their lives royally when they literally have the world in the palm of their hand. Additionally, your self-construct essentially, or self-construct or self-concept is what you believe about yourself. This is who I am. This is what I'm capable of doing. This is what I deserve. This is who I am. And what you need to do is normalize your goals by repeatedly affirming they're true for you. So, the big thing is, it's how you see yourself. How you see yourself determines what you manifest. So if you can look in the mirror and say, I am this, I am that, I have a beautiful house, I'm married to the person of my dreams, I'm paid handsomely for work that I love to do. You got to say it. And I would absolutely remember that, like that biblical verse, right? By your words, you are justified, and by your words, you are condemned. Do not say anything that you do not want to be true. Your subconscious does not have a sense of humor. So you're saying certain things, it's registering and propagating in your brain. Do not say things that you do not want to be true. Only voice those things that you want to be true for you. Because think of spelling, right? You're creating a spell every time you say something, right? So just keep that in mind. So not only do you need to decide who you want to be, but you got to get to know this new self. Because why? Even if you don't necessarily like what the old self-construct has been manifesting, even if you don't like what you've been getting before, you're used to you. You love yourself. You got nobody else but yourself. You got yourself first and foremost, and you've gotten attached to yourself, flaws and all, limiting beliefs and all. So the thing is to remember, when you're creating a new self-construct, you've got to start a relationship with your new you. You need to get to know yourself. And then what will happen when you make that decision of who you want to be that lines up with your goals, you will do things that surprise you. And you will say, that is so weird. I would never have done that before. That's interesting. And then you're going to get more information. Why? Because again, there's stuff that's going on off in your brain that has not gone off before because you've done the work, you've made the decision. So now all of a sudden, this area of your brain is being activated, never had been activated before. And you're like surprised. Like, what was that? Touching upon a new aspect of yourself, because that is really key. When you're doing things and you're seeing yourself doing things instinctually that you've never done before, and you're a little bit surprised, you are on track. Because what you want to do is you want to get to know this new you, love this new you. It's like cultivating a new relationship. Think of it in terms of your relationship, but this person is not very accomplished or they don't really have much, but you're in love with them. You know, you're not going to throw them away because they haven't accomplished certain things. Likewise, when you're creating this new you who is accomplished, who is manifesting all of these things, you've got to develop a new relationship with this new you, because you love the part of you, or the you that is used to not getting what it is that you want. So you also have to love and cultivate a new relationship with the new you who is used to manifesting what you want, if that makes sense. So you can decide to be whomever you wish, but you need to get to know yourself differently. Get to know your new self and start viewing yourself differently. Yeah, it is a lot, isn't it? Yeah. You're going to have to rewatch this. That's fine. That's fine. Yeah. It'll be online. It'll be online. So you got your 4 steps. The most important thing is the importance of normalization. If you have any anything on a pedestal, you're not going to get it. So if you have, oh my God, this job is amazing, this would be fantastic, you probably won't get the job. It's out of reach. You're putting it on a pedestal. Oh my God, if I could go out with this person, I would be so happy. You're putting him on a pedestal, out of your reach. So anything that you want, you need to knock it off the pedestal. You need to be at level with what it is that you want. If you think that it is so much greater than you and so big and so fantastic, you are going to elude it. It is going to elude you. So knock anything off the pedestal. If you want something too much and you're making too much of a big deal about it, you're probably not going to get it. So you need to knock anything that you want off the pedestal. If you are making money, for instance, a god, and you're wanting more money, knock it off the pedestal. So labeling something as beyond me, and that's what you're doing when you're putting things on a pedestal, it creates a disconnection from that reality. Oh, well, I could only dream about it. Well, yeah, you'll only continue to dream about it. So you want to make it at level with you. Hi, sassy me. Speak your dreams into existence. Don't give your words the power of your words. Yes, I agree. Yes, got to speak your dreams into existence for sure. And you got to normalize your goals to manifest them successfully. So it has to feel normal for you to get that job. It has to feel normal for you to make a certain amount of money, right? And it takes training. That's why the visualization is really important. And that's why meditating and visualizing from the field, from the universe, from space is really helpful, because if you're looking to your past to help you create, well, you didn't really get what you wanted in the past, right? So if you're looking at your past experiences, that's going to be very limiting. That's why you want to look to the stars, right? That's why astrology is super helpful, because it helps you to see, oh, okay, well, I have this going on here. What can I learn from this planet and this interaction and what's going on in the field? And then from your imaginative state, you can create something that has not happened before. But if you're creating your plans in life based upon what's happened before, you may continue to just get what you got before. So You want to normalize your goals. You want to make them very, very natural. Of course, I'm going to get a date with this person. Of course, I'm going to get this job. Of course, I make this amount of money, right? It has to be normal and natural for you. You have to be at level at it. It has to be a natural, energetic balance, right? So I think it was Wayne Dyer said, we don't get what we want, we get who we are. So you got to be vibrationally resonant. It has to be very, very natural for you. Of course, I'm going to do it. It's a matter of course, naturally, right? So that's why visualization is super important. Okay. So you said, speak your dreams into existence. Don't give your words the power of your woes. Yes, woes. That makes sense. So I'm going to give you some affirmations. So this is what I would like you to do with these affirmations, and we'll put them in the description afterwards. But if you really want something, you really do, 5 minutes a day. You just say it. You set your timer for 5 minutes. You set your alarm for 5 minutes, and you say it over and over and over again. If you want something, you really want something, you will do this. Otherwise, you shouldn't complain about it because you don't really want it, right? So if you really want these things, whatever it is that you want, 5 minutes a day. Or otherwise, what does that mean? You don't really want it, or you're afraid of getting it, right? Because these are very, very powerful. I did not create them. A lot of them are from either Catherine Ponder or Florence Scovel Shinn, other resources that I found. So here is one that is nice and general. You can do it for whatever it is that you want, or you can do it for all 4. I am receiving. I am receiving now. I am receiving all the love, health, wealth, creative inspiration the universe has for me now. So you want to be in a state of receivership. That is why gratitude is so important. When I say thank you, oh, this is so wonderful. What am I in? I'm a state of having received. And that is the state you want to be in if you want to manifest anything. You can't be like, why isn't this happening yet? Well, that's not receptivity. What or who? And nothing is going to go near you when you're being that honorary, right? So you need to be in a state of receivership. And that gratitude is going to help you. So any affirmations that say, I am receiving, are going to be very advantageous. Here's another general one you can use. I am now on the royal road of success, happiness, and abundance. All the traffic goes my way. So you say that 5 minutes. 5 minutes. You say it over and over again. Because what's going to happen? Well, your subconscious is going to be like, well, I keep hearing it. It must be true. And then it's going to let it in. Here's another one. My good now flows to me in a steady, unbroken, ever-increasing stream of success, happiness, and abundance. Say it for 5 minutes, right? Especially before bed or when you wake up. Both would be great. This is one for health. I am in divine health. All my organs are operating optimally. My cells and my body are happy, energized, and vibrant. The energy of the universe flows through my body with ease and with peace. And if that's too long, you can just break it up. I am in divine health. I am in divine health. Or all my organs are operating optimally. The energy of the universe flows through my body with ease and with peace. Whatever has a nice flowy rhythm for you that feels good, especially if there's a certain level of musicality. Some people do affirmations that rhyme because that helps them to stick better. But whatever feels really good for you. Here's another one for health. I am nourished by the spirit within. Every cell in my body is filled with light. I give thanks for radiant health and endless happiness. Say it for 5 minutes. every day. Here's one that's really good for money. If you have any concerns about money, say this 5 minutes a day. And certainly do not complain until you try this. Never complain about money again until you do this. The enormous sums of money that are mine by divine right now manifest for me quickly, easily, and at peace. I am receiving. I am receiving now. I am receiving all the wealth that the universe has for me now. 5 minutes a day. You should not have any money problems if you are doing this and you're letting it in. This is good for love. I am deserving and worthy of being loved. I am deserving and worthy of this amazing relationship in my life. I am enough. I am worthy and I deserve to experience the unconditional love that life has to offer, and break them up. I mean, this might be a little long. You could just say, I am worthy and I deserve to experience the unconditional love that life has to offer, and let it sink in. Get comfortable with it. And if you're not comfortable with saying it, that is a sign that you're not aligned with it, that it doesn't resonate as true for you. Or if it makes you uncomfortable, you might not be ready for it. You might not be vibrationally ready for a relationship. You might not be vibrationally ready for a lot of money or for great health, etc., etc., etc. Here's one if you're trying to sell a house or some property. Divine intelligence directs the right buyer to this property. Everyone concerned is blessed by a just and orderly exchange of values. Another thing in terms of if you want to sell your house, you've got to get happy about your house. You got to make sure that you are in love with that house as much as possible. That's also a good thing to do if you're looking to move. It's just like, anything. You're transferring yourself, right? So if you're in a job and you're miserable and you try to get another job, it's going to be easier for you to get as happy as possible in your current job, and then you transition to a job and you're even happier. Otherwise, you're going to have the same issues. Same thing with the house. You want to make sure that you're as happy as possible in the house that you're in, and then you're going to be able to find a better house. If you're trying to sell your house, you have to be in love with your house. You can't be like, I can't wait to get rid of this. This is a money pit. That's awful. Because why? All of that energy is in the walls, it's in the carpets, and in the floors, and nobody's going to want to buy the house. So you want to make sure that you're feeling amazing about the house and that you're treating the house like it is the best house in the history of houses, right? So conclusion, you can use those affirmations. We're getting clear. If you want to manifest, you got 4 steps. You got to get clear on what you want. Know what it is that you want, and know whether or not it's coming from an actual true soul purpose place or if it's coming from your ego. Because if it's coming from your ego, you have a long road ahead of you and it's going to make life very challenging, right? Pride has come before the fall. Number 2, you identify your blocks. Find out what is keeping you from believing that your goal is unattainable. Is it the context that you were brought into in this lifetime? Is it your parents' limiting beliefs? Is it a fear of changing your identity? Is it a fear of joy? Were you taught that if you are joyful, you are going to get in big trouble? Can you get comfortable with a new self-construct? So identify your blocks, and that's number 2. Number 3 is you heal these blocks. There's so many things that you can do. I mean, especially online now. I mean, literally everything from EFT, which is the tapping, right, to meditations, to visualizations, to book. There's so many free resources on the internet now that literally we can learn anything that we want. We absolutely have no excuse now at all for anything because it's free at our fingertips in this day and age, right? So we need to embrace the technology that we have. There's many ways for you to heal, but you got to take responsible for that responsibility for that healing, and you need to schedule it. And it's not a one and done, right? You had many, many years in which certain beliefs were inculcated into your brain. So what do you need to do? You need many years in which you're retraining your subconscious mind into believing that you are deserving, that you are worthy, that you can indeed get what it is that you want. Finally, your self-concept or self-construct. You have got to see yourself as the person for whom achieving your ends is possible, is natural. So you've got to go through this new sense of I should be. If I can get the transcript, I will. Yeah, I'll transcribe it. Thank you, Casmar, for the idea. So you want to make sure that your self-image, your self-construct is aligned with the new you that can have what it is that you want. So if you've historically always got passed up for the job, always got cheated on, always made only this amount of money, that is that old self-construct, and we got to create a new one for you in which you're always getting the job that you want. You always get the love that you desire, that you always get this amount of money, right? So you got to change your self-construct, and you have to make sure that you're being consistent, and you're training yourself. And again, I mean, so much of life is all about like that reparenting, that self-parenting. And you do not have to do this alone. You have people who have died that will help you, your ancestors, not just from this lifetime, but from previous lifetimes. You also have like your spirit guide, you have your alternative selves, you have God, you have Christ, you have Buddha, you have lots of resources that are at your disposal, but that are not limited to human beings on this earth. You don't have to. I mean, they can facilitate your changes for sure. And if you like working with people, that might help you as well. But you're not having to do this alone, right? Because the universe has your back as soon as you start seeing it. A big part of manifesting too is you have to look for what it is that you want. It's the believing that is seeing. So we see this right on stage when somebody believes that they're a chicken with the magician on stage, and then they quack like a chicken, right? You've got to believe you are what it is that you want to be, and then you're going to start seeing it showing up in your reality. So I hope this helped you all tonight. I hope this was fun for you, and you'll have this as a resource that you can go back to. And we'll talk further about these different techniques and how you can manifest your own reality. I would say for your new moon in Gemini, do that. Write down the 5 things in your life that you want, more, less, whatever. If you're doing a new moon wish list, I wouldn't do more than 9. But write down what you want in the different areas of your life, and then say, I deserve it because of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Write 5 reasons why you deserve what it is that you want. And then read the list for over the next 2 weeks. And if you're doing those affirmations, again, 5 minutes a day. So yeah, let me know if this helps. I'd love to see what you have in the comments. And if you are around for tomorrow, well, I'll see you for this week astrology at 1 p.m. Eastern. And of course, if you're looking for a psychic astrology reading, life coaching, or if you're doing a party in either LA or online, well, check out my website, psychicsun.com. You can find information on all my services there, including gift certificates for people on your list, as well as horoscopes for this lunation. So take good care, everybody, and happy new moon, and I shall see you soon. Bye-bye.